Please come to order. Good evening. Welcome. I am Randy Guy, President Commissioner of St. Mary's County. Before I introduce the other commissioners, I ask that you turn your cell phones off or on vibrate. This public forum tonight at January 12th, 2021. Sitting to my right, representing the 1st Commissioner District, which includes Bridge, Piney Point, St. George's Island, Mr. Eric Colvin.
Good evening.
Representing the 2nd Commissioner District, which includes Leonardtown, Hollywood, Mr. Mike Hewitt.
Good evening.
Sitting to my left, John O'Connor, who represents the 3rd Commissioner District, which includes Charlotte Hall, 7th District, Golden Beach, and Mechanicsville, will be joining us tonight via WebEx. John Yon.
Good evening.
There you go. Representing the 4th Commissioner District, which includes Lexington Park, some of California, Great Mills, and some of Hollywood, Mr. Todd Morgan. Sitting at the table to my left is Dr. Rebecca Bridget, our County Administrator.
Good evening.
Elisa Cassis, our Communications Director, is sitting at the table to my right.
Good evening.
Amy Carter, our video media producer, is behind the glass, broadcasting live tonight. Dr. Bridget, will you now provide the format for tonight's meeting?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner President Guy. Here are the guidelines for the Commissioners of St. Mary's County Public Forum. If you wish to address the Commissioners, please call 301-475-4200, extension 1234, to provide your name and address for the record. You will then be given an opportunity to speak to the Commissioners through the phone conference. All speakers will be allotted 3 minutes to address the Commissioners. At the end of the 3 minutes, our Communications Director, Elisa Casas, will let you know your time has expired. We ask that you respect the 3-minute time limit in order to give all those who wish to participate an opportunity to be heard. The public forum is being televised live on St. Mary's County Government TV 95 and the county's YouTube channel. If you should miss any part of the forum, it will re-air on Channel 95 this Saturday, January 16th at 8 p.m. and will remain available for on-demand viewing on the St. Mary's County Government YouTube channel. Citizens were provided an opportunity to address the Commissioners via video submission. But because we did not receive any video submissions for the public forum, we will now begin accepting comments through our teleconferencing system. Ms. Casas, do we have any callers?
Can I interrupt, please? I would like to give Todd Morgan a chance to put out a proposed motion before we start our...
Ladies and gentlemen, there's been a tremendous amount of consternation out there about the wedding venue situation, and believe me, the commissioners are well aware of the issues and, more importantly, the effect on venues due to COVID and the economics of the environment at this present time. So I'd like a motion, please, and I move to cancel the public hearing scheduled for January 26th at 6 p.m. on the proposed amendment to the comprehensive zoning ordinance for the commercial wedding use, postpone the item indefinitely, and return to Lugum for further review.
Second.
I have a first and second on that motion. All those in favor? Aye.
So what
Aye.
Thank you,
Any
Commissioner
opposed?
O'Connor.
None. Ayes have it.
What I would suggest of those of you who are calling in this evening to discuss the wedding venue, this has been postponed indefinitely. It's going to go back to the table for review. We're well aware of the circumstances, so enjoy the dinner with the evening with the family.
Thank you, Commissioner Morgan. Dr. Bridget, let you carry on now.
Thank you very much. And we were checking to see if there were any callers. Ms. Casas?
Dr. Bridget, Commissioners, it doesn't appear that we have any callers on our teleconference line right now. Let me check in with our center. Hi, Julie. It's Elisa Casas. I'm calling to see if we have any public comments for this evening's Commissioners' Public Forum yet. Julie, thank you. Commissioners, Dr. Bridget, we have no public comments at this time on our teleconference line.
Mr. President, let's go give everybody 3 minutes, just in case you're eating dinner now and you haven't got to your phone in time. But we want to make sure that, you know, when we have these meetings, that the public does have an opportunity to speak. Or as they say when you get married, speak now, forever hold your peace. So we're waiting for you to call. If you don't call.
So, Elisa, I'm getting some text messages from people. The main line is busy and people cannot get through in order to actually call in at this time. I don't know if we're still having trouble with the incoming line.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Connor. I'm going to go check with IT real quick. I'll be right back. Thank you. Excuse me, Commissioners.
Thank you, John.
We'll wait a few minutes. For those of you who are listening in,
You're welcome.
give us a little time to look at this line and This meeting tonight is for any issue you may have. So
While we
please-
have some time, do you all have any additional thoughts to share from your MACO meeting yesterday on upcoming legislation?
Ladies and gentlemen, well aware as you're texting us that the phone lines aren't working, so for those that are texting, we got you, we hear you, and we're waiting for you. We're excited.
I got that text, too.
I'll bring it up. Commissioner Coleman, thank you. There's some 900 bills that have been pre-filed already into this legislative session. And as Commissioner Guy mentioned earlier today, many of them are repeat bills from last year. The MACO board is comprised of representatives from all the counties in Baltimore City. So you got a good diversity of what's going on. And there's 3 basic subcommittees. It's education, it's land use, and it's tax. This year, I'll be sitting on education. Last year, I was on land use. This year, Commissioner Guy are switching around so we get a little better flavor. So what the meeting yesterday basically discussed is how MACO, which is all the counties, will address those bills, whether we support the bill, whether we oppose the bill, or we're going to oppose the bill with amendments placed on them. And MACO's been pretty good about being able to influence a lot of legislation. The irony of MACO is that it's a large organization composed of all the counties, but we all get one vote at the table. It doesn't mean it always balances out that way when you get to the legislative group, because the big 5 in the middle generally dominate the discussions. So, for example, on the education bill, what we discussed yesterday was the fact that we recognize that Kerwin will probably be overturned this week by the Senate, but it probably won't get to the House till February. We discussed the finances of what's going to happen to the Board of Education in the future, and quite frankly, nothing's been decided. But for the most part, most counties are down 5 to 7% in enrollment. We discussed a lot of things on the environmental front with land use. Some of them are carryover bills from last year, which are, I will say, very socially oriented towards recycling, tire burning, different types of land use and things like that. We discussed those bills. We discussed tax policy. One of the big things that we do in tax policy is we are very careful to ensure that MACO will not support bills that provide, I forget the word for it's financial redistribution.
Yes.
I.e., we're not going to get a credit. You get a credit at the state level, but you don't get a credit at the local level. So if you want to get a credit at the state level, then the state takes the bill. But don't take the credit at the state level and then tell the county you got to pick up the bill along the way for something the legislatures have done along the way. So that's always a big discussion when it comes to bills that are proposed that basically have a negative impact on the counties along the way. We discussed tax structure, what could possibly be done on taxes at the end of the year. And the big thing that's going to happen is going to be on the police reform bills. And I can't tell you how many bills are up there this year on police reform due to the circumstances of things that have surrounded the nation over the last year. At this point, they said there's a bunches of bills, and MACO really hasn't taken a position on them yet, but it's going to be carefully divided between what law enforcement officials feel, what counties feel, and what the public feels, and how the legislature will treat them. So when we get the list, we'll be able to share them with the commissioners and the public. But quite frankly, last night, because the bills are flying so fast and the hearings on these bills will start on Thursday, the summaries of what the bill said were not provided to the MACO people or the MACO representatives just because they didn't have time to compile it, but rather what they did, they just introduced the bills, they told us what was going on and how they saw the legislature convening this year. But most importantly, you know, this will all be extremely interesting this year with how the Senate and the House of Delegates conduct session. Obviously, there will be no public hearings. There'll be Zoom meetings. They're using Zoom up there as their platform. How they will meet, where they will meet, to be determined. So with that, we'll be watching the bills as carefully as you, particularly on bills that will have an effect on flow down provisions, i.e., it's your job, county, to pick up the bills, much like a few years ago, Board of Elections was told, county, you can pay the bills. Assessment and taxation, county, you get to pay the bill. Teacher pension, teacher reform, counties, you get to pay the bills. So like I said, this is it's a very dynamic year up there. It's a whole new world order, as we well know, with the COVID and the epidemic. And
Good.
We'll just play it by ear and see what happens.
And what we try to do is interfere with those bills that have what we like to call unfunded mandates.
Funding mandates.
In other words, they put a bill through and they don't provide any funding for it, and they make the counties pay for it. It sounds good as a legislator or senator to pass some of these great bills, but they don't provide any money with it, and they make us pay for it. So we fight those as much as possible. And of the 24 jurisdictions, when we meet, we have, like Todd said, he is on the Education Committee, I'm on the Land Use. We meet about a half an hour prior to the total legislative body, which is 24 jurisdictions. And we look at the bills in our committees and either support, oppose, or maybe support with amendment, or maybe even put them on the back burner and say, no comment whatsoever on the bill. So it depends on the importance of it. And the important thing with us as a rural county is we have a coalition that we also look the day before. Usually we meet on Wednesdays.
RCC meets on Mondays.
Yeah, so Monday we meet the RCC, our rural coalition, to discuss the bills, how it affects the rural counties. And then we as a group decide on how we want it to proceed. And it's become a lot stronger over the last 3 or 4 years I've been involved, because we're allowed to put in, if we can't totally oppose the bill, at least put in some kind of a rider or supplement on how it would help us, rather than just the large counties. So it's very important that we meet there and look at these bills as quick as possible. So it's either oppose, support, or get some kind of amendment put on it so it better support us. And this last night's meeting was the first time we've met prior to the legislative meeting, but there's so many bills that we had to start early. And we worked for over 3 hours last night and didn't get through all of them that they proposed for us to look at last night. But we got through the majority of them, which was quite a bit. And I think it's a good body to work with, and we were able to hopefully steer the bill in the right direction so it doesn't affect us too severely. But I can see, just on the Land Use Committee last night, the numerous bills about land use definitely affects St. Mary's County a lot, just because of our near to the water, and that's a big concern of the state, is to protect our waterways. It's a big concern of ours too, but sometimes it gets so critical. There's a cost factor in a lot of this. We want to sort of railroad it and not let it get too expensive for us to develop our own peninsula here. So we'll be watching that all this year.
So, I guess it's my turn.
Go ahead, your turn.
I can stall for a few minutes. Switching gears slightly, my understanding is that there's probably a few people who are looking to call in tonight about the redistricting committee. Now, I just wanted to clarify, first off, before we get into phone calls, hopefully we'll be able to take them soon, but the redistricting committee that we set up, it's only for the commissioner districts in the county. Obviously, there's 4 of them, and then the at-large commissioner president. But this committee isn't set up like any of our other committees. All of our other boards and commissions, we vote as a body on the membership of those committees. With this committee, it is appointed by individual commissioners. So I definitely understand the concerns about gerrymandering. Gerrymandering is a huge problem in the state of Maryland. Maryland is one of the worst gerrymandered states in the entire country. I would encourage a lot of the effort and excitement and focus on a bipartisan commission to look at the state level and look at some of the state districts and how badly gerrymandered they are. That's where the real problem is. The county, if you look at the map, does not appear to be significantly gerrymandered in any way, but you look at the state map, it's pretty bad. It's pretty ugly. On a separate note, it was a beautiful day today. I was glad I got to get outside for a little bit.
Yeah.
It was brisk, but it was nice. And hopefully we're getting the phone lines fixed soon. Commissioner Hewitt, any thoughts you'd like to share?
I'd say if we don't get the phone lines fixed, we may as well use the hearing next week for the public forum instead of the wedding venue.
I agree.
Now, many people have reached out and said, got a call from T-Bone Heather today. Said, Mike, you're being associated with these people who do not want to have wedding venues and farms. That's not true. Somebody said, well, where did it start? I said, well, I think what it started with is we were allowing 20 events per year, and there was a move to go to 35 or higher, more events a year. And when we started discussing that, that's when people started reaching out saying, hey, wait a minute now we're going to have a chance to input. We'd like to input it on this. So nobody drew up this ordinance. I mean, of course, the staff, county staff worked on it. They looked at what Calvert County does, what Charles County does, and people keep saying, hey, look, if we can't do it here, we'll do it elsewhere. But remember, there's two sides to every story. And I want to thank you for reaching out to us. We've obviously, this article in the Baynet brought a lot of attention about. But that's a good thing in a way, because we get to hear what the public wants. And that's honestly what our job is to do what the public wants. So again, keep reaching out, keep emailing, or however you want to, whatever method you want to use, and understand we're trying to find a balance. We're trying to find a middle ground. I'm a small business owner, or was a small business owner for my family for over 5 decades in St. Mary's County. I support economic growth, economic commerce. I want us to see everybody do as well as they can. It's not about penalizing somebody, and it's not about there's good commissioners and bad commissioners. It's about doing what's right for all the citizens of St. Mary's County. So please, reach out. Please, keep giving us your opinions. It's very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Commissioner O'Connor, you have any thoughts to share?
No, not really. I mean, I think I appreciate everybody having patience and dealing with the technical issues. I'm glad that people reached out and let me know that we were having issues, so we didn't think that people weren't calling in. It's unfortunate that technology is the way it is, and, it's great until it's not great. And that's where we're sitting at right now. That's pretty much it. I just appreciate the patience that our citizens are showing while we're dealing with this.
We have a new number if you'd like to try your public forum on a new number.
Should we wait till Alyssa gets back to man the phone line?
Yeah, before she gets inundated. Yes.
So folks, there's going to be a new phone number given to you in a few minutes.
Looks like it's on the screen already. 4661.
4661. It's on the screen.
Well, we have
So
to
I'll
first
let-
have the
Operator.
Yeah, you have to have the operator, so be patient, folks.
Here she comes.
Wait, I do have a special request. Somebody said they want to hear Roll Tide. Now, I'm not a Bama fan, but they said they want to hear Roll Tide.
Oh,
So
Roll
somebody out
Tide.
there is an Alabama fan.
Alabama fans.
Is that BJ?
Roll Tide.
I don't know. Actually, it's sort of funny. My old roommate from grad school, his best friend down in Birmingham is the guy who does the announcing and says that. I was down in an Alabama game a couple of years ago, and we're out there and we're walking down the street, and he saw the guy. And he tells me, this is the guy who says the Roll Tide. I say, you got to be kidding, dude. He stands in the middle of the street. He said, how do you do that Roll Tide? It's a great voice, and all the fans get into it, 100,000 people in Alabama and Bear Bryant Stadium, and it's a lot of fun, a lot of fun. And they know how to tailgate down there. Let me tell you, what a party that was. I'm sorry, back to my sports edition's over for a while.
Football is a great topic these days. Commissioners, thank you so much for your patience. We have a new phone number, and it is up on our screen, so we would please invite the public to call in and thank everyone for their patience as well. The number is 301-475-4661, and then you'll need to enter extension 1234. Again, that number to call and speak to the commissioners is 301-475-4661, extension 1234. And it looks like we've had somebody get through our teleconferencing line. So commissioners, again, thank you for your patience. Good evening, and thank you for calling to participate in the Commissioners of St. Mary's County Public Forum. Thank you so much for your patience this evening. Please remember you are allotted 3 minutes to address the commissioners, and at the end of your 3 minutes, I will let you know that time has expired. Please speak clearly into your phone, state your name and your address for the record, and it is preferred that you speak directly into the phone rather than using your external speaker. This will allow the commissioners and the public to clearly understand you. Good evening. You may begin your remarks now.
Hello.
Hello. Hi. You can begin your remarks now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. My name's Rita Weaver, and I live in Dameron. Good evening, commissioners.
Good evening.
I'm asking that you consider tasking the Democratic Central Committee and the Republican Central Committee to appoint 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans, as well as you, the county commissioners, appointing a registered independent to the redistricting board. Both the Committee and Republican Central Committee have vested interest to ensure the lines are drawn by population and not by political affiliation. As a community, we should be working together to resolve these issues. I believe if this board is comprised of diverse political views, the outcome will be impartial. Governor Hogan this afternoon held a press conference to appoint a Maryland commission due to the gerrymandering of legislative and congressional districts. Commissioner Colvin, I know you just spoke on this and how you as a board appoint a group of people in order to form this redistricting board. But I believe that St. Mary's County should follow suit with the county redistricting board with the same political makeup as the proposed redistricting state board that Governor Hogan has now put together. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen.
Thank you very much for your call and your patience. Good evening. Thank you for calling in to participate in the Commissioners of St. Mary's County. Good evening. Thank you for calling in to participate in the Commissioners of St. Mary's County Public Forum. Thank you very much for your patience tonight. Please remember that you are allotted 3 minutes to address the commissioners. At the end of your 3 minutes, I will let you know that time has expired. Please speak clearly into your phone, state your name and your address for the record, and it is preferred that you speak directly into your phone rather than using your external speaker. This allows the commissioners and the public to clearly understand you. You may begin your remarks now.
Hello, this is Julie Randall calling. I live at 19711 Teddy Way, Lexington Park, Maryland, 20653. I am calling you all tonight about the importance of the redistricting board that Ms. Weaver has already spoken about, and you are currently taking applications for. Certainly, as you have the ability to appoint one each community member to this board, who will then recommend any changes to the district in the county. But this process only comes about once every 10 years after the census. And redistricting is one of the most important acts the board, I believe, will undertake. And as a resident of St. Mary's County, it's important to me to see equal representation in our local government and our boards and committees. I believe the proposal that was put forward to appoint 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats, and 1 independent to the redistricting board will ensure fair recommendations. As has already been stated, gerrymandering is an issue throughout our state and our country. We're a county of firsts, and we have the opportunity to set the example again, not only for the state, but for the country, making to the redistricting board is a great opportunity to show how our community can come together and work towards a common goal, regardless of political background. I strongly encourage you all to work together in realizing this goal, and I thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you very much for your remarks. Good evening. Thank you for your patience this evening, and thank you for calling in to participate in the Commissioners of St. Mary's County Public Forum. Please remember you are allotted 3 minutes to address the commissioners. At the end of the 3 minutes, I will let you know your time has expired. Please speak clearly into your phone, state your name and your address for the record, and it is preferred that you speak directly into the phone rather than using the external speaker. This will allow the commissioners and the public to clearly understand you. Good evening. You may begin your remarks now.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is Caroline King. My address is 23561 Lily Flora Drive in California, Maryland. I'm calling today to speak about 3 issues. First, I am a former member of the Planning Commission. On December 8th, when I realized my term was ending in just a few days, I reached out to Diane Gleisner to make sure I had been reappointed. I was surprised and disappointed to learn that after 4 years on the Planning Commission and many years on other boards and commissions, I had been dismissed. I requested an explanation, but was not given one because the commissioners will not discuss personnel decisions. My request to you now is that you at least inform members of boards and commissions when they are not reappointed. I believe that is the appropriate thing to do. Second, I watched the Planning Commission meeting last night and noted that 5 members were seated at the commissioners' table, all without masks, for over an hour and a half. Given that COVID infections are at an all-time high in this county, I think the commissioners and all boards and commissions should take extra precautions and set an example to the public by wearing masks during meetings. My third comment relates to the redistricting board. I would like to express my support for the commissioners appointing 2 Republicans.
Ms. King, we're losing your signal. Are you still there?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, that's much more clear.
Okay. I hope the commissioners will coordinate to ensure the board is fair and balanced. The commissioners should also take into consideration the diversity of the board with respect to gender, race, and area of residence. Many other counties in Maryland have procedures in place that ensure equal representation on redistricting boards. St. Mary's County appears to be the only one that would, for example, allow an all-Republican board of county commissioners to appoint an all-Republican redistricting board. That's only one step removed from gerrymandering of our county commissioner districts. I hope that doesn't happen. And just to be clear, I don't agree with gerrymandering on any level, federal, state, or county. But this is a county public forum, and I am taking the opportunity to call in about a county board. Please appoint a diverse membership to the redistricting board. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your remarks. Good evening. Thank you for your patience and welcome to the Commissioners of St. Mary's County Public Forum. Please remember you are allotted 3 minutes to address the commissioners, and at the end of 3 minutes I will let you know your time has expired. Please speak clearly into your phone, state your name and your address for the record, and it is preferred that you speak directly into the phone rather than using the external speaker. This will allow the commissioners and the public to clearly understand you. Good evening. You may begin your remarks now.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is Marcia Greenberg speaking.
Caroline King. My address is 23561 Lily Flora Drive in California.
Ms. Greenberg, could you please turn down your television or YouTube? We're getting some feedback.
Yes, but is it Caroline who's speaking now, or am I speaking? I'm confused.
You're speaking. There's a delay in the television broadcast, but you're speaking, Ms. Greenberg, to the commissioners now.
I beg your pardon, and thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, everybody, for your patience this evening. I wanted to wish everybody a happy new year and a healthy one. And I have a very simple plea. As you all know, I am fond of this community, and I also exhort people to believe in civility and good relations with one another. It's come to my attention, and perhaps it has not yet come to yours, that one of our friends and neighbors and a member of our business community who had a sign on her property promoting President-elect Biden in the last election had been subjected to harassment. After the elections, one had hoped that things were over, that the election was clear, and that we could go back to having very amicable relations within our community. But I have learned that the harassing phone calls have resumed. This is not what we want to see in our county. My request to you all as our leaders in this community is, would you all please make it clear to our friends, our neighbors, the residents of this county, that we should all be civil and respectful of one another, and that harassment for any political purposes is not acceptable. I know you would agree with me that this is important, and I would urge you please to make some kind of a statement to ensure that in these very, very troubling times right now, we do not replicate what is going on in Washington, D.C. with harassment or with violence. I thank you very much, and I do hope we will have a peaceful, civil 2021 and more together in this county. Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you, Marcia. Well said.
Thank you for your remarks. Good evening and welcome to the St. Mary's County Commissioners Public Forum. Please remember that you are allotted 3 minutes to address the commissioners. And at the end of 3 minutes, I will let you know that your time has expired. Please speak clearly into the phone, state your name and your address for the record, and it is preferred that you speak directly into the phone rather than using the external speaker. This will allow the commissioners and the public to clearly understand you. Good evening. Please begin your remarks now.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is Steve Tuttle at 23540 FDR Boulevard, Apartment 304, California, Maryland, 20619. I am calling about the redistricting format. I understand that each commissioner can pick their individual for their individual district. I'm asking, like everybody else that's called before me, to see if we can make this a bipartisan, balanced, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and 1 independent. I was looking at the rules. I don't think there's anything saying that the county commissioners as a whole can't discuss this and vote on this in unison instead of separately, but I could be mistaken. That's all I have to say tonight. I thank you for all the hard work that you guys have done. I bless you guys, St. Mary's County, the great state of Maryland, and the United States. Thank you and have a good evening.
Sir, thank you very much for your remarks. Good evening, and thank you for calling in to participate in the Commissioners of St. Mary's County Public Forum. Please remember, you are allotted 3 minutes to address the commissioners, and I will let you know when your time has expired. Please speak clearly into your phone, state your name and address for the record, and it is preferred that you speak directly into your phone rather than using the external speaker. This will allow the commissioners and the public to clearly understand you. Good evening. You may begin your remarks now.
Thank you. My name is Diana Donahue, and I live at 37745 Asher Road in Mechanicsville. I'm calling about the redistricting board, and I want to just put in my 2 cents worth to add to the comments that people have made about having a balanced and impartial board, a bipartisan board with 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and 1 independent. Commissioner Colvin spoke about gerrymandering, and I think that if there is a board that is not balanced, I think that there's a great danger that we will be subjected to the same kind of gerrymandering that we've seen in this state and in others around the country. So I would simply encourage all of you to the suggestion of having the Democratic and Republican Central Committees pick 2 members each and then having the commissioners pick 1 independent person, I think, and I would encourage all of you to follow that recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your participation. Good evening. Thank you for calling in to participate in the Commissioners of St. Mary's County Public Forum. Please remember, you are allotted 3 minutes to address the commissioners, and at the end of the 3 minutes, I will let you know your time has expired. Please speak clearly into your phone, state your name and your address for the record, and it is preferred that you speak directly into the phone rather than using the external speaker. This will allow the commissioners and the public to clearly understand you. Good evening. You may begin your remarks now.
Hi. Yes, my name is Irene Duffy. My address is 22159 Hanover Woods Court, Leonardtown. I'm calling. Are you there?
Yes, we're here. You're good.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Good evening. So I'm not going to be redundant because everybody's pretty much said what I called to say. There was one thing I was wondering about, because the gentleman in the beginning was talking about the fact that the commissioners have that it's their job to pick one person each, I guess. I'm not sure how the panel is chosen, but I'm wondering what the criteria is for that choice. If this only happens every 10 years, it seems like it might be pretty important, and if it's not like a position that there's any input on except for the commissioner's input, then I would agree with everybody that in order to be fair, these people should be representative of the political, of the political people in the county, that everybody's political persuasion should be represented. So that's all I really want to say, and thank you for your service. And I would hope it would be 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats, and an independent, or just something like that. Thank you so much. Good night.
Good night. Thank you for calling in to participate. Good evening. Thank you for calling in to participate in the Commissioners of St. Mary's County Public Forum. Please remember, you are allotted 3 minutes to address the commissioners. At the end of the 3 minutes, I will let you know your time has expired. Please speak clearly into your phone, state your name and your address for the record, and it is preferred that you speak directly into the phone rather than using the external speaker. This will allow the commissioners and the public to clearly understand you. Good evening. Please begin your remarks now.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Howard Thompson. My address is 24740 Sodley Road in Hollywood, Maryland. Just a couple things I wanted to touch with you on real quick. Brian Crosby's town hall the other night, and he had a Maryland DOT rep there, and they were talking about the Great Mills Route 5 intersection down there, and about what they might be doing here in the near future. And from what I could gather from it, if I could get it, because they had a little trouble with their site, was that the dual lane was only going to go up to Flatiron Road. That is all they were going to have planned. And it was going to be 2 years in the making to even just get the utility straight and things like that. In my opinion, I think that just going to Flatiron Road is actually moving a bad intersection up to a worse intersection because it's not a T-bone and doesn't have the access lanes. It's I'll call an X intersection. I think there's going to be a lot of problems right there when you bring 2 lanes in. You have very short turn lanes and all that. So I'm hoping that y'all can representatives to see about still going to Callaway with that dual lane. I know monies are probably not quite right now, but I think it would benefit that corridor greatly. Another thing that I wanted to talk to you about real quick was I want to thank y'all for starting anew with this farm use venue. I think it'll help everybody in the county, give them a little time to think about it a little bit more. Seems like there was a lot of action today on social media, and I think it'll give time for y'all to work on it and give people time to think and get their ducks in a row, as I'll say, in order to get to y'all to figure out how exactly they want to do with that. I want to thank staff also. Working with WebEx there at the county can be trying at times. The staff that you have there goes well beyond what I could ever do, especially without a grandchild around to help me with a computer. but they do a fine job of trying to get the meetings that we attend to, and that some of us sit on boards in order to make those things go right. And I think they should be thanked and commended for that. And very lastly, the redistricting committee, the good idea of 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and an independent should work. Hope y'all can find a good person each and get it so it's people that can work together and get this thing straight, because gerrymandering has been a problem for many years. And I appreciate everything y'all are doing for us.
Sir, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your remarks. Good evening. Welcome to the Commissioners of St. Mary's County Public Forum. Please remember, you are allotted 3 minutes to address the commissioners, and at the end of the 3 minutes, I will let you know your time has expired. Please speak clearly into the phone, state your name and your address for the record, and it is preferred that you speak directly into your phone rather than using the external speaker. This will allow the commissioners and the public to clearly understand you. Good evening. Please begin your remarks now.
Hi, this is Brandon Russell, and I'm in Leonardtown, Maryland. I'm calling tonight to express my support for creating a fair and balanced redistricting board. Each commissioner has the responsibility to appoint individuals to this board who will then make recommendations for changes to the commissioner and Board of Education districts ahead of the 2022 election. I believe it is vitally important to select 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and 1 independent to this board, and I also encourage you to ensure this board is diverse according to race and gender. Counties around our state have already have politically diverse redistricting boards, so St. Mary's County would be in good company there. I question some past decisions you've made regarding local boards and commissions after dedicated and upstanding community members have been dismissed from their role or not appointed after repeated applications. St. Mary's County is lucky to have a diverse population, which includes many who want to make our community a better place. I've been told in the past it has been difficult to find individuals to appoint to these commissions due to a lack of interest. Having followed recent decisions regarding commission appointments, I'm assuming that trend has changed significantly. If so, it will bode well for a potential group of candidates applying to the redistricting board. This morning, regarding Delegate Morgan's tax cut proposal for local bars and restaurants, Commissioner Colvin remarked, "I always prefer to do something locally rather than have the state dictate it down to us." I was glad to hear Colvin felt this way, and I hope other commissioners feel this way as well. Governor Hogan said at his press conference this afternoon, elected officials have a duty to do all they can to restore trust and fairness to our political system. I hope the commissioners agree with this statement as well. Commissioners, once the application process is complete, all we need is your pledge to create a fair and balanced redistricting board. Maryland is a heavily gerrymandered state, but we have the opportunity to ensure our commissioner and Board of Education districts do not fall prey to that same fate. Creating a redistricting board that reflects diversity by political party, race, and gender is easily accomplished. The community supports this, and I encourage fellow community members who are interested to apply to this board immediately. Finally, I would like to take a moment to thank those of you who publicly condemned the insurrection we witnessed at the Capitol last week. I am encouraged to hear that at least some of our local Republican leaders feel that these actions were inappropriate. Thank you.
Sir, thank you for your remarks. Good evening, and thank you for calling in to participate in the Commissioners of St. Mary's County Public Forum. Please remember you are allotted 3 minutes to address the commissioners. At the end of the 3 minutes, I will let you know your time has expired. Please speak clearly into your phone, state your name and your address for the record, and it is preferred that you speak directly into your phone rather than using the external speaker. This will allow the commissioners and the public to clearly understand you. Good evening. Please begin your remarks now.
Thank you, ma'am. This is BJ Hall, William Hall, 45579 Catalina Lane, California, Maryland, 20619. I think somebody else said Happy New Year to all of you, and I'd like to say thank you to all of you personally for participating in Sunday in the Park. We really appreciate that and appreciate you working with us to communicate with the community. It's a new year, same old focus. What I want to do is make sure that we focus on what's important and not always keep our attention on the things that pop up as urgent. So I just want to remind us that we do have a big fight that we have going on for, well, not big fight, but a push for the community center. I know we made a lot of progress on the YMCA over the past year, but we also had a conversation about, well, I know you all had a conversation, you all had a conversation about getting infrastructure support from the government to support the base. And so I think there needs to be an emphasis placed on getting the project shovel ready as soon as possible. The community has been speaking about the redistricting board, and everybody talks about the political affiliation tied to it. I understand that to be an important issue, but I think it's more important that the board looks like the county. Talking about demographics, race, gender, sex, wealth, all that good stuff. But I think it needs to reflect the people of the county and not just be viewed through the political lens. And we need to make sure that we're paying attention to the need for a second early voting center. I know that we're going through the budget process right now, and we need to account for a possible second early voting center. Hopefully, that's something that we are encouraging this year. I know we had a little snafu in trying to get it put together for this past year, but I know that you all understand that there's a need for multiple in the county, and I know that we'll get that together by the end of by the time we actually need it in 2022. Don't want to push to the 3 minute, but I appreciate you all the hard work that you do, and I look forward to working with you for the next year or two.
Thank you for calling in, Mr. Hall. Good evening, and thank you for calling in to participate in the Commissioners of St. Mary's County Public Forum. Please remember you are allotted 3 minutes to address the Commissioners. At the end of the 3 minutes, I will let you know your time has expired. Please speak clearly into your phone, state your name and address for the record, and it is preferred that you speak directly into your phone rather than using the external speaker to allow the Commissioners and the public to clearly understand you. Good evening. Please begin your remarks now.
Hello, my name is Ted Warren. I live at 17980 Bill Raley Road in St. Inigoes. And I'm calling to talk about the farm venue ordinance that you have so well voted to push down the road. But I want to get my thoughts on record and some of our other venues. So let me begin by saying I am associated by marriage with Mary's Hope on Church Cove, a wedding venue in St. Inigo's business, owned by my wife and her family for the business has been owned for approximately 15 years. I'm calling to register our firm opposition to the County Commissioner's proposed ordinance pertaining to weddings on farm venues. I realize that we now have it's been postponed, but I want to make sure this is on the record. We feel the ordinance is unfair, unrealistic, and so costly to us, meets so many requirements that we will not be able to be financially viable and continue to operate. You will legislate us and similar businesses out of business. Also, this is the important part to us as you go forward in your further review that you talked about. We were not afforded the right or courtesy of being involved or contacted in formulation of this ordinance. This is a one-sided formulation of an overly burdensome, enterprise-killing government solution without a substantive, verified, and validated problem. The impact on the economic development of St. Mary's County will be immediate, deep, and wide, and its impact is not fully transparent. I thank you for referring this back and voting not to consider this today, but I'd like you to make an informed decision on input from all parties affected and allow us to be represented fairly at the table, as you say, when you return it to Land Use and Growth Management for further review. We would like the courtesy of being able to put our side in so all sides are understood and the facts are delivered to you rather than something that may not be factual. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and thank you for your votes today to postpone this ordinance vote. Again, thank you very much.
Sir, thank you very much for your remarks. Good evening. Thank you for calling in to participate in the Commissioners of St. Mary's County Public Forum. Please remember you are allotted 3 minutes to address the Commissioners, and at the end of the 3 minutes, I will let you know your time has expired. Please speak clearly into your phone, state your name and address for the record, and it is preferred that you speak directly into the phone rather than using the external speaker to allow the Commissioners and the public to clearly understand you. Good evening. Please begin your remarks now.
Good evening. Happy New Year, everyone. My name is Eugene Aragon, and I live in Mechanicsville, Maryland. Can everyone hear me okay still?
Yes, sir.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So I had the opportunity to speak at the public forum in October of 2020, so I would like to follow up a little bit on what I talked about and elaborate a little bit further on some of the concerns I still have regarding what's happening in the state of Maryland and our county as well. So in the October 2020 forum, I guess I misunderstood. It seemed like there was information that was shared that we would be followed up with after our remarks. And I guess I misunderstood that because I haven't received any follow-up. But regardless, I did want to share that I have been doing some research on the current legislation that's enacted in Annapolis and signed by the governor, specifically the Maryland Public Safety Code. The section 14.3 alpha-01, the definitions section, and the other section I've been researching as well is 14.3 alpha-02. These specific sections, touching on the definitions one, talks about catastrophic health emergency. Well, when I reviewed some of this language, it seems that some of the language is very subjective, and I'm concerned about that. So one of the things that I'm looking to propose is some recommended language to possibly be considered by the General Assembly in Maryland to make some updates to the specific definitions to provide additional specific guidance that could be used in the future to reduce the possibility of being in the current situation that we are in with our life, liberties, and pursuit of happiness being hampered on a day-to-day basis in the state of Maryland. The other section, 14.3 alpha-02, discusses specifics on the emergency proclamations, executive orders is my interpretation, recommending some language to be considered to make some updates to that. That kind of gets back to the point I was sharing as a concern in October, that it seems like the executive branch is creating laws. And as I currently understand the Maryland Constitution, only the legislative branch talks about laws and passes that information, this legislation, to the executive branch for signature to become a law in the state of Maryland. So again, just wanted to share my concerns, recommend that my fellow citizens in St. Mary's County, as well as the Old Line State, educate themselves on the current legislation and laws that are in Annapolis and possibly recommend changes so our voice, we the people here in Maryland, is no longer silenced by the stroke of a pen. The General Assembly represents us, the people. So we need to make sure our voice is heard when serious situations such as we've been dealing with are presented to, so we can figure out better ways to solve problems. So again, thank you very much for the opportunity, and again, Happy New Year to everyone.
Sir, thank you very much for participating tonight. Good evening. Thank you for calling in to participate in the Commissioners of St. Mary's County Public Forum. Please remember you are allotted 3 minutes to address the Commissioners, and at the end of the 3 minutes, I will let you know your time has expired. Please speak clearly into your phone, state your name and address for the record, and it is preferred that you speak directly into the phone rather than using the external speaker to allow the Commissioners and the public to clearly understand you. Good evening. Please begin your remarks now.
Hi, I'm Elin Bryce Davis, 20832 Waterside Drive, Leonardtown, Maryland. I'm here to update the commissioners on the commercial Airbnb motels operating in my residential waterfront neighborhood. I'm pleading for restrictions to protect neighborhoods from this commercial encroachment. A December 10th, 2020 Wall Street Journal article announced that Airbnb stock would be offered to the public on December 17th, 2020. Airbnb is a $47 billion worldwide commercial enterprise, and the 2 Airbnbs within a 9-house span on my street are franchises. Airbnbs are not subject to zoning laws, are not owner-occupied, and do not need a permit. They are not taxed as commercial entities. The average person renting out a room or house does not list it on the New York Stock Exchange. Between May 14th, 2020 and December 31st, 2020, I calculated 67 relentless turnovers of transients at the Sandy Beach Airbnb motel next door to me, an average of every 3.4 days, clearly a commercial use. The St. Mary's County Commissioner's written response to my October 20th, 2020 public forum appearance stated rentals are permitted by the week, month, or year. I'm talking about by the day, if not by the hour. My voice is the only neighbor in such close proximity. Sandy Beach Airbnb motel is barely 15 feet away, too close between a commercial business and a private residence. The St. Mary's County Attorney acted during the summer of 2020 to eliminate a commercial industrial park on my street. I'm asking now for restrictions on commercial Airbnb motels, similar to what Mayor Mahoney has done in Chesapeake Beach in Calvert County. I'm also requesting the commissioners to delegate to the proper authorities the cleanup of accumulated raw sewage from the old, abandoned, failed sand mound system on the property of Sandy Beach Airbnb Motel. The system has twice been declared and documented as failed due to spewing raw sewage by the St. Mary's County Health Department in 2002 and again in March of 2020 based on my complaint due to COVID. The runoff, exacerbated by unprecedented rainfall, continues onto neighbors' properties, into a road, into a pond, into Breton Bay, and into the Potomac River, creating a public health crisis. In closing, I invite all 5 commissioners to walk my property line, and I ask them to enact an emergency text amendment to explore restrictions on commercial Airbnb motels in residential neighborhoods. Who would buy my house? Would you? Thank you for your time.
Ma'am, thank you for calling in to participate.
Public Forum Call Center.
Hi, Julie. This is Elisa Casas. I'm calling to see if we have any more calls on our teleconference line for the Commissioners' Public Forum.
We do not.
Thank you, Julie. Dr. Bridget, Commissioners, we have no more calls this evening on our teleconference line. And again, thank you for your patience.
Commissioner President Guy, this concludes our public forum.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Bridget, for conducting the forum today. We want to thank all of you who called in tonight. We appreciate your input. It is an important part of our deliberations and decision-making. You can be assured that each of your concerns will be addressed, and you will be contacted by us or one of our staff for follow-up information. Make sure you make it clear all the information we got in today. We'll go to our directors, and we'll get you the information as quickly as possible. We will now close the public forum.